Good afternoon, boys and girls and moms and dads. Welcome to Read Aloud Rendezvous on Thursday, July 16th. Can you believe that already? Today I want you to think about what you do to entertain yourself. What do we do for entertainment? Well, it's a little harder during COVID times, but let's think of all the things we've been doing. We play games, we go to movies, we watch TV, we read books, we listen to music, we have hobbies, we play sports. We have a lot of ways that we entertain ourselves. Well, long time ago, when books were rare, not everybody had books available to them, there would be storytellers, okay? Usually there's good storytellers in all the families, and this was the way they entertained each other. Every culture in the world has stories that they have passed from generation to generation in their oral tradition. Every culture also has stories about certain characters, and one of those characters is who we're going to concentrate on today in our stories, and it's the character of the trickster, a trickster who is able to defeat other people or other characters, and they're often larger characters than themselves, and the way they defeat them is by using their cleverness, their wit, their humor, and their wisdom. The stories we're going to read today are from a collection called The Tales of Uncle Remus, The Adventures of Brer Rabbit. These stories are part of the Black storytelling heritage. They are stories that I loved in my childhood, and I'm eager to share some of them with you today. Just so you know, the word Brer, B-R-E-R, means brother. So, here's how the story starts. How the animals came to Earth. Most folks don't know it, but the animals didn't always live on Earth. Way back before, in the beginning and once upon a time, they lived next door to the moon. They'd probably still be there if Brer Rabbit and Sister Moon hadn't started squabbling with one another like they were married. The way it come about was like this. The animals liked to sit out in their yards every evening and look at Sister Moon. They thought she was just about the prettiest thing they'd ever seen, and Sister Moon never argued with them. Well, the animals started noticing that she was losing weight. To tell the truth, she was looking downright puny, like she'd gone on a pure vegetable diet. Brer Rabbit decided to climb over the fence to find out what was going on. "What's the matter, Sister Moon? I don't mean to hurt your feelings or nothing like that, but you look po as Job's turkey." Sister Moon said, "I ain't been feeling like myself of late. Is there anything I can do to help?" "Thank you, Brer Rabbit, but I don't believe you the man to do what I need doing." Brer Rabbit was insulted. "I'm more man than Brer's son, who you chase all over the sky every month and can't catch up to." Sister Moon smiled tightly. "All right, Brer Rabbit, I'll try you out. I need to get word to Mr. Man that I ain't feeling like myself. I believe I done caught cold from being out in the night air so much. If I don't put my light out and take a little vacation, I'm going to be in a bad way. I don't want Mr. Man to look up and see my light out one night and get scared." "Oh, I'll take word to him," said Brer Rabbit. "I've been wanting to see what something called Mr. Man looks like anyway. Tell Mr. Man I said I'm getting weak for to be more strong. I'm going in the shade for to get more light." Brer Rabbit said it over a couple times, and off he went. "The moon is getting weak for to be more strong, going in the shade for to get more light. Sister Moon is getting weak for to be more strong, so going in the shade for to get more light." So Brer Rabbit took a running start and jumped a long jump. He fell through space, past the stars, and down through the firmament, tumbling tail over head and head over behind. This was no place for a rabbit. He was so scared, his eyes got big and wide and almost popped out of his head, and they've been that way ever since. This was the last time his mouth was going to get him into something his feet couldn't do. He landed on Earth and waited a few minutes to make sure he had all his parts and they were all in working order. Then he looked around. The first thing he saw was Mr. Man's garden. It was filled with green peas, lettuce, cabbage, collard greens, and sparrowgrass. Over in the field were sheep, goats, cows, and pigs. Brer Rabbit's mouth started trembling and dribbling at the same time. He went up to Mr. Man's house, knocked on the door, and said, "I got a message for you from Sister Moon." "What is it?" said the man. Brer Rabbit thought for a minute. "She say, I'm getting weak, I got no strength, I'm going to where the shadows stay." That wasn't the right message, was it? Mr. Man got indignant. "Tell Sister Moon I said, seldom seen and soon forgot. When Sister Moon dies, her feet get cold." Brer Rabbit nodded and took a long jump back up to the Sister Moon. He told her what Mr. Man said, and Sister Moon was angry. She hauled off and hit Brer Rabbit with a shovel and split his lip. Brer Rabbit didn't take no stuff off nobody, and he clawed and scratched Sister Moon, and to this day you can still see the marks. Rabbits have split lips, and the face of the moon is all scratched up and got holes in it. Brer Rabbit went and told the animals about all the vegetable and sheep and goats and fat pigs he'd seen on Mr. Man's place. They decided right then that Sister Moon was on her own from now on. They took the long jump, and that's where they've been ever since. Oh, you see, boys and girls, in these stories, sometimes they explain how things happen to be, like why the moon looks like it does and why certain animals look the way they do. The next tale is how Brer Fox and Brer Dog became enemies. When the animals started living here on Earth, something seemed to happen to them. Where before they had all gotten along with each other, now they started having little arguments and disagreements. It was only a matter of time before they weren't much different from people. Brer Fox and Brer Rabbit were sitting alongside the road one day talking about much of nothing when they heard a strange sound. Bloom, bloom, bloom. "What's that?" Brer Fox wanted to know. He didn't know whether to get scared or not. "That?" answered Brer Rabbit. "Sound like Sister Goose." "What'd she be doing?" "Battling clothes," said Brer Rabbit. "I know y'all don't know what I'm talking about. You take your clothes to the laundromat, or you have a washing machine and dryer sitting right in your house. Way back yonder, folks took their clothes down to the creek or stream or whatsoever, got them real wet, laid them across a big rock or something, took a stick and beat the dirt out of them. You don't know nothing about no clean clothes until you put on somewhat been cleaned with a battling stick." Well, when Brer Fox heard that Sister Goose was down at the stream, his eyes got big, and Brer Rabbit knew his mind had just gotten fixed on supper. Brer Fox said he reckoned he better be getting home. Brer Rabbit said he supposed he should do the same, and they went their separate ways. But Brer Rabbit doubled back, however, and went down to the stream where Sister Goose was. "How you today, Sister Goose?" "Just fine, Brer Rabbit. Excuse me for not shaking hands with you, but I got all these suds in my hands." Brer Rabbit said he understood. "I suppose I got to stop the story, 'cause I hear you thinking that a goose don't have hands. And next thing I know, you'll be trying to get me to believe that snakes don't have feet and cats don't have wings, and I know better. So if you don't mind, you can keep your thoughts to yourself, and I'll get back to the story." After Brer Rabbit and Sister Goose had finished exchanging the pleasantries of the day, Brer Rabbit said, "I gotta talk to you about Brer Fox. He's coming for you, Sister Goose, and it'll probably be before daybreak." Sister Goose got all nervous and scared. "What am I going to do, Brer Rabbit? My husband's dead and ain't no man around the house. What am I going to do?" Brer Rabbit thought for a moment. Take all your clothes and roll them up in a nice white sheet and put that on your bed tonight. Then you go spend the night up in the rafters." So that's what Sister Goose did. But she also sent for her friend Brer Dog and asked him if he'd keep watch that night. He said he'd be glad to. Just before daybreak, Brer Fox creeped up to the house, looked around, eased the front door open, and slipped inside. He saw something big and white on the bed. What does he think it is? Oh, right, he thinks it's a goose. He saw that big and white something, and he grabbed it and ran out the door. Soon as he jumped off the porch, Brer Dog came out from under the house, growling and scratching up dirt. Brer Fox dropped that bundle of clothes like it was a burning log and took off. It's a good thing, too, 'cause it had taken Brer Dog 4 months to find somebody who could wash and iron his pajamas as good as Sister Goose, and he wasn't about to let nothing happen to her. Next day, when the news got around that Brer Fox had tried to steal Sister Goose's laundry, he couldn't go nowhere for a week. Brer Fox blamed Brer Dog for spreading the news through the community, and ever since that day, the dog and the fox have not gotten along with each other. Our next story is Hold 'em Down, Brer Fox. Brer Fox couldn't prove it, but he knew Brer Rabbit had warned Sister Goose he was coming, and he made up his mind to get even with Brer Rabbit. Brer Rabbit got word about what Brer Fox was thinking, so he stayed away from his general habitats for a while. On this particular day, he was somewhere up around Lost 40 and saw a great big horse laying dead out in the pasture. Or he thought it was dead until he saw Horse's tail twitch. Brer Rabbit went on his way, but who should he see coming toward him but Brer Fox. "Brer Fox! Brer Fox, come quick! Here, I got some good news. Come here!" Brer Fox didn't care what kind of good news Brer Rabbit had. The good news was that he had found that rabbit. Just as Brer Fox got in grabbing distance, Brer Rabbit said, "Hey, come on, Brer Fox. I done found how we can have enough fresh meat to last us until the middle of September." Brer Fox, being a prudent man, thought he should check this out. "What are you talking about, Brer Rabbit?" "I just found a horse laying on the ground where we can catch him and tie him up." Sounded good to Brer Fox. "Let's go." Brer Rabbit led him over to the pasture, and sure enough, there was the horse laying on the ground like he was waiting for them. Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox got to talking about how to tie him up. They argued back and forth for a while until finally Brer Rabbit said, "Listen, I'll tell you the way we do it. I'll tie you to his tail, and when he tries to get up, you can hold him down. If I was a big strong man like you, I'd do it. And you know, if I was to hold him, he would be held. But I ain't got your strength, Fox. Of course, if you're too scared to do it, then I reckon we've got to come up with another plan." There was something about the plan that Brer Fox didn't like, but he couldn't think of what it was. Not wanting Brer Rabbit to think that he wasn't strong and brave, he said, "Okay." Brer Rabbit tied him to the horse's tail. "Brer Fox, that horse don't know it, but he caught." Brer Fox grinned weakly. Brer Rabbit got him a great long switch and hit the horse on his rump. Pow! The horse jumped up and landed on his feet, and there was Brer Fox dangling upside down in the air, too far off the ground for peace of mind. "Hold him down, Brer Fox, hold him down," said Brer Rabbit. The horse felt something on his tail. He started jumping and raring and bucking, and Brer Fox knew now what was wrong with Brer Rabbit's idea. "Hold him down, Brer Fox, hold him down!" The horse jumped and twirled and snorted and bucked, but Brer Fox held on. "Hold him down, Brer Fox, hold him down!" One time, Brer Fox managed to shout back, "If I got him down, who got a hold of me?" But Brer Rabbit just yelled, "Hold him down, Brer Fox, you got him now, hold him down!" The horse started kicking with his hind legs, and Brer Fox slid down the tail. The horse kicked him in the stomach once, twice, 3 times, and Brer Fox went sailing through the air. It was a week and 4 days before Brer Fox finally came to the earth, which gave him a whole lot of time to realize that Brer Rabbit had beat him again. Brer Rabbit's quite a trickster, isn't he? Yeah, he's kind of like the bully, isn't he? Yeah. The next story is called Brer Rabbit Comes to Dinner. It took Brer Fox quite a while to recuperate from the horse incident, but that gave him a lot of time to scheme and plan on how he was going to get Brer Rabbit. The first day Brer Fox was up and about, he sauntered down the road. Coming toward him, looking as plump and fat as a Christmas turkey, was Brer Rabbit. Excuse Excuse me. So here comes Brer Rabbit. Just a minute there, Brer Fox said as Brer Rabbit started to walk past without speaking. I'm busy, said Brer Rabbit. I'm full of fleas today and gotta go to town and get some ointment. Oh, this won't take but a minute, Brer Fox answered, falling into step beside him. All right, what's on your mind? Brer Fox gave a sheepish grin. Well, Brer Rabbit, I saw Brer Bear yesterday and he said I ought to make friends with you. I felt so bad when he finished with me that I promised I'd make up with you the first chance I got. Brer Rabbit scratched his head real slow like, all right, Brer Fox, I believe Brer Bear has a point there. To show you I mean business, why don't you drop over to the house tomorrow and have supper with me and my family? Next day, Brer Rabbit helped his wife fix up a big meal of cabbages, roasted ears, and sparrowgrass. Long about supper time, the children came in the house all excited, hollering, "Here come Brer Fox!" Brer Rabbit told them to sit down at the table, mind their manners, and be quiet. He wanted everything to be just right. So everybody sat down and waited for Brer Fox to knock on the door. They waited a long time, but no knock came. "Are you sure that was Brer Fox you saw coming up the road?" he asked his children. "We sure. He was drooling at the mouth." No mistake. That was Brer Fox. Brer Rabbit got out of his chair very quietly and cracked the door open. He peeped one of his eyeballs out. He rolled his eyeballs from side to side until they stopped on a bush that looked like it was growing a fox's tail. Fox's tail? Brer Rabbit slammed the door real quick. Next day, Brer Fox sent word by Brer Mink that he had been low down sick the day before and was sorry he couldn't come to supper. To make up for it, he sure be pleased if Brer Rabbit would take supper with him that very same evening. When the shadows were at their shortest, Brer Rabbit went over to Brer Fox's. He scarcely set one foot on the porch when he heard groaning from inside. He opened the door and saw Brer Fox sitting in his rocking chair, a blanket over his shoulder, looking like death, eating soda crackers in the graveyard. Brer Rabbit looked around and didn't see any supper on the stove. He did notice the butcher knife and roasting pan on the counter, however. "Looks like you been planning on us having chicken for supper, Brer Fox," said Brer Rabbit, like nothing was wrong. "Sure enough," says Brer Fox. "You know what goes good with chicken, Brer Fox?" "What's that?" "Calamus root. Seems like I can't eat chicken no other way nowadays." And before Brer Fox could blink, Brer Rabbit was out the door and into the bushes where he hid to see if Brer Fox was sure enough sick. A minute later, Brer Fox came out on the porch looking as healthy as a rat in a tuxedo. Brer Rabbit stuck his head out of the bush and says, "I'll leave you some calamus root right here, Brer Fox. You ought to try it with your chicken tonight." Brer Fox leaped off the porch and took off after Brer Rabbit, but that rabbit was halfway to Philly, New York, before Brer Fox's claws touched the ground. All Brer Fox had for supper that night was an air sandwich. So once again, that Brer Rabbit sure tricked him. Okay, the next story that I'd like to share with you is called Brer Rabbit and the Tar Baby. Early one morning, even before Sister Moon had put on her nightie, Brer Fox was up and moving around. He had a glint in his eyes, so you know he was up to no good. He mixed up a big batch of tar and made it into the shape of a baby. By the time he finished, Brer's son was yawning himself awake and peeping one eye over the top side of the earth. Now, what do you know about tar, boys and girls? Oh, it's black and sticky, isn't it? Yeah, when it's warm, it's sticky. So that's what he made a baby out of. Brer Fox took his tar baby down to the road, the very road Brer Rabbit walked along every morning. He sat the tar baby in the road, put a hat on it, and then he hid in the ditch. He had scarcely gotten comfortable as you can get in the ditch, before Brer Rabbit came strutting along like he owned the world and was collecting rent from everybody in it. Seeing the tar baby, Brer Rabbit tipped his hat. "Good morning, nice day, ain't it? Of course, any day I wake up and find I'm still alive is a nice day as far as I'm concerned." He laughed at his own joke, which he thought was pretty good. "Ain't too bad if I say so myself." Tar Baby don't say a word. Brer Fox stuck his head up out of the ditch, grinning. "You deaf?" Brer Rabbit asked the tar baby. "If you are, I can talk louder," he yelled. "How are you this morning? Nice day, ain't it?" Tar baby still don't say nothing. Brer Rabbit was getting kind of annoyed. "I don't know what's wrong with this younger generation. Didn't your parents teach you no manners?" Tar baby don't say nothing. "Well, I reckon I'll teach you some." And he hauls off and he hits the baby. Bip! And his fist was stuck to the side of the tar baby's face. "You let me go," Brer Rabbit yelled. "Let me go or I'll really pop you one." And he twisted and he turned, but he couldn't get loose. "All right, I warned you." And he smacked the tar baby on the other side of the head. Bip! His other fist was stuck. Brer Rabbit was sure enough mad now. "You turn me loose or I'll make you wish you'd never been born." Thunk! He kicked the tar baby and his foot got caught. He was cussing and carrying on something terrible and kicked the tar baby with the other foot and thunk! That foot was caught. "You let me go or I'll butt you with my head." He butted the tar baby under the chin and thunk! His head was stuck. Brer Fox sauntered out of the ditch. Brer Fox sauntered out of the ditch, just as cool as the sweat on the side of a glass of tea. He looked at Brer Rabbit, stuck to tar baby, and laughed until he was almost sick. Here's the illustration of what the tar baby looked like, and Brer Rabbit trying to get that baby to talk and punching it. That's no way to handle that, is it? No. And there's Brer Fox. He finally got back at Brer Rabbit, didn't he? Brer Rabbit, oh pardon me, he was stuck. "Well, I got you now," Brer Fox said, and when he was able to catch his breath, he said, "You floppy-eared, pom-pom-tailed good-for-nothing, I guess you know who's having rabbit for dinner tonight." Brer Rabbit would have turned around and looked at him if he could have got his head unstuck. Didn't matter. He heard the drool in Brer Fox's voice and knew he was in a world of trouble. "You ain't gonna be going around through the community raising commotion anymore, Brer Rabbit, and it's your own fault too. Didn't nobody tell you to be so friendly with the tar baby? You stuck yourself to that tar baby without so much as an invitation. There you are, and there you'll be, until I get my fire started and my barbecue sauce ready." Brer Rabbit always got enough lip for anybody and everybody. He even told God once what he'd done wrong on the third day of creation. This time, though, Brer Rabbit talked mighty humble. "Oh, well, Brer Fox, no doubt about it. You got me. No point in saying that I would improve my ways if you spared me." "Nope, no point at all," Brer Fox agreed as he started gathering kindling for his cooking fire. "I guess I'm going to be the barbecue today," Brer Rabbit sighed. "But getting barbecued is a whole lot better than getting thrown in the briar patch," he sighed again. "No doubt about it. Getting barbecued is almost a blessing compared to being thrown in that briar patch on the other side of the road. If you gotta go, go in barbecue sauce. That's what I always say. How much lemon juice and brown sugar you put in yours?" Brer Fox heard this. He had to do some more thinking because he wanted the worst death possible for that rabbit. "Now that I thinks of it, it's too hot to be standing over a hot fire. I think I'll do something else." Brer Rabbit shuddered. "Oh, no, no, don't do that to me. But I thank you for being so considerate. That's much better than being thrown in the briar patch." Brer Fox thought another minute. "Come to think of it, maybe I'll drown you in the creek over yonder." Brer Rabbit sniffed like he was about to cry. "No, no, Brer Fox. You know I can't stand water, but I guess drowning awful as it is better than that briar patch." "I got it," Brer Fox exclaimed. "I don't feel like dragging you all the way to the creek. I got my knife right here. I'm just going to skin you." And he pulled out his knife. Brer Rabbit's eyes shivered. "That's all right, Brer Fox. It'll hurt something awful, but go ahead and skin me. Go ahead. Do whatever you want to me, but please, 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 please don't throw me in that briar patch." Brer Fox was convinced now that the worst thing that he could do to Brer Rabbit was the very thing Brer Rabbit didn't want him to do. He snatched him off that tar baby, wound up his arm like he was trying to throw a fast ball past Hank Aaron, and chucked that rabbit across the road smack dab in the middle of the briar patch. Brer Fox waited. He didn't hear a thing. He waited a little longer. Still no sound. Just about the time he decided he was going to get rid of Brer Rabbit, just about the time a big grin started to spread across his face, he heard a little giggle. Tee, tee. And the giggles broke into the loudest laughing you've ever heard. Brer Fox looked up to see Brer Rabbit sitting on top of a hill on the other side of the briar patch. Brer Rabbit waved. I was born and raised in the briar patch, Brer Fox. Born and raised in the briar patch. And he hopped off over the hill and out of sight. Well, just when Brer Fox thought that he had Brer Rabbit tricked him again. Okay, boys and girls. I don't know. How much more should I read, honey?
26 minutes.
What do you want, boys and girls? I have lots of stories here. How about we just jump to the last one? On Tuesday, I read at Family Story Time some Aesop's fables that have morals and lessons in them. And the one I read was The Hare and the Tortoise, okay? And that had the moral of, slow and steady wins the race. This book also has a story of the rabbit and the turtle and a race they had. And it's called Brer Turtle, Brer Rabbit, and Brer Fox. First thing one morning, Brer Rabbit went to see Miss Meadow and the girls. He wasn't far from their house when he came upon Brer Turtle. He knocked on Brer Turtle's roof. What does that mean? He knocked on his shell, didn't he? You know, Brer Turtle is a cautious kind of creature, and he always carries his house with him. Don't know whether he's afraid of robbers or just what. The way folks be breaking into houses these days seems to me Brer Turtle got the right idea. Anyway, Brer Rabbit knocked on the roof and asked if anybody was in. Brer Turtle allowed as to how he was. Brer Rabbit wanted to know where Brer Turtle was going. Brer Turtle thought that was an interesting question, because he hadn't thought about it. Going was so much of a problem that where he went wasn't important. Chances were he wasn't going to get there anyway. As far as he was concerned, he was going to wherever he got to. That being the case, Brer Rabbit said he'd carry him along, and they could call on Miss Meadows and the girls. And that was all right with Brer Turtle. Miss Meadows and the girls were glad to have some company and invited them in to set a spell. Brer Turtle was too low to sit on the floor and take part in the conversation, and when they sat him in a chair, he still wasn't high enough. Finally, Miss Meadows put him on the mantelpiece above the fireplace, where he could take part in everything that was going on. Very quickly, the conversation got around to Brer Rabbit riding Brer Fox like a horse the day before. I would have ridden him over this morning, said Brer Rabbit, but I rode him so hard yesterday that he's kind of lame in one leg this morning. I was forced to sell him. Brer Turtle spoke up. Well, Brer Rabbit, please sell him out of the neighborhood. Why, day before yesterday, Brer Fox passed me on the road, and do you know what he said? Quite naturally, nobody did, since they weren't there. He looked at me, and he said, Hello, Stinkin' Jim. He didn't, exclaimed Miss Meadows. She and the girls were dismayed. She and the girls were dismayed that Brer Fox would talk like that to a fine gentleman like Brer Turtle. Now, while all this was going on, Brer Fox was standing in the back door, hearing every word. He sure heard more than he bargained for, which is always how it is with folks who put their ears in on other folks' conversations. The talk about him got so bad that the only way to stop it was to walk in like he'd just got there. Good day, everybody, he said, grinning, and having taken care of all the pleasantries, he made a grab for Brer Rabbit. Miss Meadows and the girls commenced to hollering and screaming and carry on. Brer Turtle was scampering around on the mantelpiece, and he got so excited he tripped and fell and landed right on Brer Fox's head. That brought all the commotion to a halt. Brer Fox rubbed the knot on his head, looked around. Brer Rabbit was nowhere to be seen. Brer Fox looked and looked until finally he saw some soot falling out of the chimney and into the fireplace. Aha! I'm going to light a fire in the fireplace and smoke you out, Brer Rabbit. He started stacking wood in the fireplace. Brer Rabbit laughed. What's so funny? Ain't gonna tell, Brer Fox. What you laughing at? I said. Well, nothing except I found a box of money hid up here behind a loose brick. Brer Fox wasn't going to get fooled this time. That's a lie and you know it. And he commenced to stack in the wood again. You don't have to take my word for it, Brer Rabbit said. Look up here and see for yourself. Brer Fox peeked up the chimney and Brer Rabbit dropped a square brick right on his head. If somebody dropped a brick on your head, that would pretty well take care of things, wouldn't it? After Brer Rabbit dropped the brick on Brer Fox's head, Brer Fox was laid up in the hospital for a week or so. The day he got out, he commenced to scheming again. He was walking down the road and ran into his cousin, Brer Wolf. They hadn't seen each other since the big family barbecue last Juvember, so they hugged and exchanged news about kin and their. Then Brer Fox brought his cousin up to date on all that Brer Rabbit had been doing. This has got to stop, said Brer Wolf. We got to get that rabbit. That's easier said than done. Well, I got a plan, but for it to work, we got to get him inside your house, Brer Fox. He wouldn't come in my house if you promised him free lettuce for a year. Don't worry about that. I can get him there, says Brer Wolf. How? You go home, Brer Fox, get in bed and make like you dead. Don't say nothing until Brer Rabbit puts his hands on you. When he does, grab him and we got us a Brer Rabbit for good supper. Brer Wolf went over to Brer Rabbit's house, knocked on the door. Bam, bam, bam! Nobody answered. Brer Wolf commenced to banging and kicking on the door like he didn't have no manners, which he didn't. Blammy, blam, 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 blammy. Finally, a tinitchy voice came from inside. Who's there? A friend. All them who say friend ain't friend. Who's there? Said Brer Rabbit. I got bad news. Bad news will get folks to listen when good news won't. Brer Rabbit cracked the door and peeked half eyeball out. Brer Fox died this morning, Brer Wolf said, real mournful like. Brer Rabbit raised a half eyebrow. Oh, that's so? He never recuperated from that lick on the head when you dropped the brick on him. I just thought you'd want to know. That was bad news that was sure enough good news, but it wasn't news to be accepted on somebody else's say-so. He decided to sneak over to Brer Fox's and verify it. When he got there, everything was quiet and still. He peeped through the open window, and there, lying on the bed, hands folded across his chest, eyes closed, was Brer Fox. Poor Brer Fox, said Brer Rabbit. He sure is dead. Leastwise, he looked dead. Of course, I always heard that when folks was dead and somebody came to see him, dead folks would raise up a leg and holler, Wahoo! Brer Fox raised up his leg and hollered, Wahoo! Brer Rabbit didn't waste no time getting away from there. You know, it ain't possible to go through life without meeting your match sometime or other. Brer Rabbit was no exception. One day he and Brer Turtle were having a good laugh, remembering the time Brer Turtle conked Brer Fox on the head. Brer Turtle said, If Brer Fox had chased me instead of you, I wouldn't have been caught just as sure as you're born. Brer Rabbit chuckled. Brer Turtle, I could have caught you myself. Brer Turtle looked incredulous. You must be joking, Brer Rabbit. You couldn't have caught me if your feet had turned to wheels and your tail to a motor. Hold on a minute, Brer Rabbit couldn't believe his big ears. You was so slow that when you moving you look like you're standing still. I ain't got no time to beat my lips over it. I got $50 to say I'm the fastest. And I got $50 say you been shaving the hair off your legs or something, but I know you done lost your mind. Brer Rabbit, I hate to take your money, but if that's what you want, that's what you got. Brer Rabbit laughed. I'll leave you so far behind that I can plant greens at the beginning of the race, and by the time you cross the finish line, them greens will be ready to pick and eat. "I hope your feet are as fast as your mouth," said Brer Turtle. They got Brer Buzzard to be the race judge and hold the bet money. It was to be a 5-mile race with posts set a mile apart. Brer Turtle claimed he could race faster going through the woods. Everybody told him he was out of his mind. But could he expect to beat Brer Rabbit, who would be running on the road? Brer Turtle said, "Watch me." Brer Rabbit went into training. He bought a red jogging suit, a green sweatband, and some yellow Adidas sneakers, and he jogged 10 miles every day. Then he'd come home and do a whole mess of push-ups, sit-ups, and skip rope to his records. Some folks wondered if he was training for a race or to be on Dancing with the Stars. Brer Turtle didn't do a thing. You see, it's a strange thing about the turtle family. There were 6 of them, including Brer Turtle, and they all looked alike. The only way to tell them apart was to put them under a magnifying glass, and even then you could make a mistake. On the day of the race, folks were there from all over. Even the TV networks were there, so the folks on the moon could see it. Miss Meadows and the girls brought lunch baskets and lots of Dr. Pepper to drink. Brer Rabbit showed up in his shades, wearing a gold jogging suit with a tan stripe, and when he took it off, he had on emerald green racing shorts. Everybody oohed and awed and rushed to get his autograph. Meanwhile, Brer Turtle and his family had been up with the sun. He put his wife in the woods at the starting line. He stationed each of his children near the other posts. Brer Turtle hid himself in the woods at the finish line. Race time came and Brer Rabbit hollered, "You ready, Brer Turtle?" Miss Turtle was off a little ways in the wood and, disguising her voice, hollered, "Let's go!" Brer Turkey Buzzard fired the gun and the race was on. Brer Rabbit took off like a 747 jet. Miss Turtle went home. Brer Rabbit came to the 1-mile post. "Where are you at, Brer Turtle?" Brer Turtle's young'un crawled on the road and said, "Right with you, Brer Rabbit." Brer Rabbit started running a little faster. He came to the 2-mile post. "Where are you at, Brer Turtle?" "Right with you," came the answer. Brer Rabbit ran a little faster. He passed the 3-mile post, the 4-mile post, and every time he hollered for Brer Turtle, and the answer came back, "Right with you." The finish line was now in sight, a 1/4 mile away. Brer Rabbit could see Brer Buzzard with the checkered flag, but he didn't see Brer Turtle come out of the woods and hide behind the post marking the finish line. "Give me the money, Brer Buzzard, give me the money!" Brer Rabbit started hollering, and Miss Meadows and the girls started cheering like they'd lost their senses. Brer Rabbit was 100 yards from the finish line when Brer Turtle came from behind the post and crossed the finish line. "Soon's I catch my breath, I'd be pleased to take that $50, Brer Buzzard." Brer Buzzard handed over the turtle. Brer Buzzard handed over the money, and Brer Turtle went home. Well, those of you that know the story of the hare and the tortoise, that's a much different twist to the story, isn't it? But somebody finally outwitted Brer Rabbit. There are lots more stories. We have this book at the library, so if you're interested in more of this storytelling culture, you go ahead and take it out. I'll get it back to the library tomorrow, and it'll be ready by the weekend. Hey, we'll see ya. Love ya. Bye.